Hello and welcome, as today's date comes in that of Saturday, the second day of November 2019. All trades, bets, and of the like within each his own risk and their own reward. I'll be looking at the NHL for today. If I didn't, I looked at it yesterday. I didn't play anything, and I might not play anything today. Interesting though, Toronto Maple Leafs and Philadelphia Flyers. A double-edged sword. Most likely the play is over the total there. But first, I was going to be huge on the Maple Leafs with the Alex Ovechkin well, not press conference, interview after the game. Very much large. We'll see if it pumps the Toronto Maple Leafs. He basically said, "Man, you guys are playing. You guys aren't playing as a team, man. You got to step up the game huge." That's what Ovechkin said in so many words. Oh, I loved hearing that. And I'm thinking, okay. And now I'm hearing that Jake Muzzin and Morgan Riley are both out for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And that's normally a play on Philadelphia. And if the Leafs take it, if they don't take that news positively from Ovechkin, and definitely if they take it negative, the play's on Philadelphia to beat Toronto tonight. That's enough about NHL. Maybe there'll be something later. If I find something, I'll put it out right now for sure. The big play tomorrow is Green Bay laying 3.5 points. That's the best play on the board for NFL. All right. So for this video, we're going to take a look at Neo. Just really quickly, there's a nice little setup getting above this 1234 handle. And also Theta. But we're also going to talk about betting strategies. Buy low, sell high. I have another one of those 6-digit codes for SmallBasic. Okay. So here we have this level of resistance, which was hit at 1400 hours. This is a single hour term time frame on October the 28th. And then the day before Halloween, it comes up to it again. It comes down. And we have this short-term level of resistance here we can see here at 1170. It was hit multiple times, but the main one was hit here at right at the start of November the 1st. It managed to get above it last night, 9 p.m. Eastern time, and has been holding and staying above it ever since, once supporting it here at 5 o'clock in the morning, where it came from. Since the rally at 5, which came up to it, now let's transition this into the 15-minute term. Well, since this rally in here, it's been now holding and staying here above this little level, but as it goes, it's got to get above this 1229. And if it does manage to do so, we take a look at this from the triple hour term time frame. This is a spot where it just got above this major level of resistance here and had a spectacular move. When we take a look at this on the 8-hour term time frame, what it did not do was it did not resist where it came from in the range of 1,000 Satoshi here, which is previous resistance, multiple hit, twice hit, even 3 hit here at around 960. Yeah, well, no, twice hit at 1,000. What it did not do was resist at previous support at 1,074, nor is it even supported on the comeback. What it did do was resist this previous high area piercing above in here, and it supported this previous, or it resisted this previous level of support. So a fantastic move. So what I need to see it hold and stay above is doing better than that. As I see a move like this, really holding the area of like 965 to 1000 is like your must hold kind of deal. So far, doing a really, really good job of that. As we see it on the daily term time frame, the price action was like here, and this was even higher than that before. I'm not going to show you those previous prices, but that's just something maybe you could take a look at. Let's just say, well, maybe something in here. Okay, maybe I will. Okay, so I mean, this is just a major, major destructive move. First off, okay, did Fibonacci downside? I don't know the answer to this, what the number's going to be. But let's just take a look at what the level here. We'll take a look at Fibonacci from first, we'll take 1884 to this 15 handle. And then look at the Fibonacci downside. Then we're going to take the Fibonacci from this high to this low. And then we're going to move into theta. So we got, let's just do it in the last 2 digits here. So we'll do 185 for the low. So it's high divided by low. From when I write this, it doesn't matter what I put in first or second, the high or low. And I did that by intent because sometimes I don't care, and my computer can easily say, hey, what's the highest number? Well, whatever that is the highest, meaning take the two numbers, whatever's maximum, that's high. Whatever's minimum is low. That's how I programmed it. So here, I've taken the last digit out, which is 1495. 1495. 1496 even. Well, we'll go 1495. So the downside target was 510-ish or so. So if it's going to go there, it hasn't hit it yet. That's another way of putting it. And no, it wouldn't have hit it yet. If, of course, that's a key level. And I don't got any. This is the data I got for now anyway. So Fibonacci that I'm really most concerned about is from that number to what the low happens to be now. If, of course, this is a failed breakout, a lot of them, all of them from this level have, well, don't be surprised if breaking support, if this 50 level or 500 Satoshi becomes where support is. And that wouldn't be a surprise at all given its volatility. Anyway, what's the low again that I want to go with? Let's go with 834 or 83.4. So the key numbers here, 250, well, first off, 165 and 251. Which it hasn't even got to that 165 number. So that's where the next target would be, is 165. Right, and that makes sense too. And you're going to probably pierce above it. What I don't have on here is the 15% number, but that would be somewhere around here because it always is at those key numbers. Anyway, breaking above that, so the numbers after that is 165, then 251, 496, 757. Maybe you can take some George Strait information and write that down if that has any interest to you, because we're done with Neo. And that's one of my favorite country songs. George Strait, Write This Down, Take a Little Note. Good song, anyway. That's a failed breakout, obviously, here on the daily chart. Many levels of resistance. And the upper end of the support, which was 1110-ish or so, obviously didn't hold. And then you just got to say, well, yeah, it's going to pierce below. Then you got a more of a regular congestion level here of a higher end around 1048. That to me is where your like must hold is. And well, it's already below that. It's already went below the 18 average of lows. So now I'm seeing the pattern of breaking out and then not supporting the highs, not supporting the lows via that of the daily. And I'm thinking of something else that I'm going to do in here just for fun. And I haven't seen what it looks like yet. And that is draw over the 18 average daily chart and then take a look at it on like the 3-hour chart and 1-hour chart kind of stuff, which I'm going to do. Then I'm going to transition to this against the dollar, which is the reason why this mainly went down, because this went down during that failed, the fast move on the Bitcoin. So in dollar terms, Theta did not take this kind of a hit. But as the chart goes, what happens if, say, this breaks down below support? I mean, it's been fidgeting a lot within this 930 level, and it hasn't tested this lowest level yet, so maybe that's what it might do. Maybe come down to like 867, then resist 1014 for 20 or 30 days or whatever. That's a possibility. But I realize breaking down below this could easily go to like 675, 720 if that's the case. Well, it's going to be a lot. I got about 30. I don't got my spreadsheet up to tell me. I got about 32% of the theta that I want to have. 31.5, 32%. And that's not too far away. And that price going down there would be, okay, take some Bitcoin, buy some more. And then, of course, if these are underperforming other asset classes, I'll be naturally, on my ratio trades, be accumulating theta as well. But this could go down or whatever percent. Other coins like Gochain could go down more, and I can end up selling this for that and stuff. We'll talk about just that in just a little bit as far as trading. Okay, so we'll see what happens within that. But again, like I wanted to say, I'm going to draw, and I'm not good at drawing over these lines. Not bad. So I'm just drawing over the lines and seeing. Not the greatest, but close. I'm going to do it again. That's terrible. Okay, that's even. Anyway, let's just draw over. This is not. Oh, my first one was pretty good too. There we go. Okay, so now let's take a look at this on the hourly time frame. So this to me another way of showing the 18 average of highs on the daily chart on the shorter term. This is something I'd like to be able to have as an option is to have the another term time frames average on something like this. So I want the 18 average of highs and lows for the daily chart when I'm looking at the 1 hour. That would be damn cool. And within it, of course, this is why I drew the lines in there because I see that when it first came down to here, the morning of October the 25th, that it did support the 18 average of highs, but it only did it for a short period of time. And then when it broke below it, it had a huge move. And then it did not support the 18 average of lows. It had a good move below, and then it resisted it for really this entire range, mostly resisting it. Failed breakout, fast move lower here, like a small one, of course, but really congesting within that area. And it did so really well from the start of October 27th. I think it's this shorter term failed breakout October 28th. This is your failed breakout in here. And now it's been back and just for quite some time and still doing so, congesting, resisting, and hanging in there within a thread within the 18 average of lows on the daily chart. We can see a little bit here. There's that support level rallying up to the area here. A little bit of a correction, another bit, and it's failing. And even just whatever short term, this period here is starting to have a small rally from this, and it's still just okay. Well, wake me up when it's over, kind of deal. And now let's take a look at theta on against the dollar. This is the cross and well, within this, it's a little bit of a different story. This previous level of resistance, multiple hit at about 9.1 cents. Like that even, because then it hits closer to 9 cents even, we'll say. Was hit on basically September 25th and 26th as resistance. It rallied up to that point from a 7.8 cent low on October the 8th and then leaving it on the 9th, coming back again on the 12th of October, coming back again on the 15th of October, and then from that 15th high coming down to an 8 cent low in the middle parts of the month. And then after resisting it on the 22nd, breaking out above it on the 23rd, and ever since that date, and it's been a week and a half, it has held, stayed above, and supported that level. 18 average is newly rising and it's within it. So it's in that first test correctionary phase. So it's either a start of something, and that start of something is, of course, an up move, which means, okay, so there you go, then down to this point, rally up to a level, find some resistance, come back in this case, of course, and then break out and, well, at least have a leg higher, which means 13 cents or better, at least. That's where the next leg or so would be. Now, when we look at this, this is just yada yada choppy action to say the least, which is what my trading strategy works upon. Now, on this here, the first day in here, we can see we have an open of 12.34, high of 12.5 cents, or at least this day, well, 13.5, low of 12, close of 12.34. So back then, it was like 12.5 cents. Which meant if you started trading this and I say, hey, I got $2,000, I want to get into, I want to trade back and forth. Well, put half of it in one and half of it in the other. So of that 2,000, we'll put 1,000 into the tether and 1,000 into theta, and you get about 8,000 theta coins. And in the game that I played, and I got it set up, if you want to play it and you have SmallBasic and you're familiar, well, if you're not familiar with this, you can become familiar with it, but obviously, if you do like playing this game, there is your code. There's 48 total days. On day 48, it just doesn't let you do the 48th day, whatever. But this is how it would end. Each day represents at least a 10% move, because what I did is I switched this off to the single hour term time frame. And amongst such, I didn't take moves like this. And I could have, because in real life, you just put your orders in against this, because this is an actual market. And they would have done better. I know it would have. There was like 3 to 4 times where I'm like, oh my goodness, a sell order or buy order just would have won, and I didn't get it. Because what I did instead was I waited for at least a 10% move, but I waited for every hour close. And in reality, that means you got to manually be there to at least have the prices checked one way or another. I know the easiest way of doing that is have alerts on your phone and stuff, but anyway, throwing that part aside, it it works out to the level where if I would have had an order in here, I would have sold. Let me just show you some other examples of things that could have uh, hurt and helped this situation. Well, helping was the day like this. Because if I was, say, looking to buy it where this line was, let's say 90, well, I would have ended up getting a price of 85.4, where the close up top it says 0.08547. So there's a spot where you get a better trade. So when you play this game and you notice there's 13, 18, 20, whatever percent moves, that means an hour like this would have happened. But again, as I stated, it probably would have worked out. Let me just, like, even situations like this, where I wanted to have an order at, say, 13.38. And of course, it never would have closed there, and you could see, oh, but I would have got my buyback. Things like that. That happened about 3 or 4 times with me when I put these together. That if I were to just take 10% moves, and I still might do this later on, just to see what the results, just for curiosity purposes alone. But when I talk about playing the destination and not the journey, or excuse me, playing the journey for the destination, but not really giving a shit about which the journey, how it gets there on the short term, meaning, oh, how are the next 400 moves going to be to get to where you are? You got point A to point B. This is like a 10-cent coin or whatever. You got a 10-cent coin that you think is going to be worth many a dollars. Maybe 2 digits, 3 digits, even four. 10, 100, 1,000 level. Even 10's a fantastic number. So if you got a destination to go to those large numbers, you do not need to go the journey level where, okay, so how are the next 4 months going to go? Then what's going to happen after that? Is there going to, and you don't have to predict that, but be there to react to those kinds of moves. Because whenever you get stuff like this happen, where you get these failed moves, and there's so many failed moves in these markets, which is so amazing, that this gives you opportunities to get volume, to get trades in, where you can buy down here, and you can be like, oh, buy, and maybe even buy again, and then sell back on the way up. So just a little bit of extra bit of profits here and there. And as I stated again, if you're down, okay, again, let me just remove all drawing tools and go to current price action. If this started at 12.5 cents and you just bought into Theta, well, you'd be down and you just held it, whatever. And if you put half of what you wanted to put into it, well, another way of looking at losses and gains, especially losses in this matter, is if, say, for example, something happens where, like with Theta, it's down like 30% or something. Well, if you put half of what you were going to put into it, now it's like being down 15% because half of it's still in cash kind of deal. Well, at least within this trading method, and I go back to the black screen, and let's now do some mathematics and use a calculator. This is how it ended for me. I start you off with 1,000 fiat and 8,000 Theta, because that would be $2,000. 1,000, anyway. I completed this. It was Theta having a move 11.59% higher up to 9.53%. So each day is a new 10% move one way or another. It could be multiple plays in one for one gain, one coin. So Theta can go up 4, 5, 6 times in a row, or Fiat could, whatever. On this, you can see my last few trades were doing buy, 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 meaning Theta was going down. It went down to 11.3, then it went down to 10.2, then it goes down to 8.5. There's your spoiler if you're playing the game. It's going to end. But, I mean, you can see the charts and get spoilers as it is anyway. It doesn't execute the final trade, which I was going to sell 1885 of my dollars, which is a little over 10%, for 179 fiat dollars. So that would have bring me up to about 780 almost. And then this would have went down to about like almost a little under 14,000. So let's just take a look at math. How would I be doing? Well, at 9.53 cents, at that price point, if I had, and I will say, yeah, 15,631, and I'll even put the decimals if this is going to make any difference. And I'm going to divide this by, or multiply it by. No, don't divide it by 0.0953. Okay, I'm rough. Anyway, so if I'm selling 15,000, yeah, duh. I do multiply it by that. And it's like 10:51 in the morning when I'm doing this. Anyway. I would get 1,408, but almost a little under $1,500, and so from 1,506, I'd have 2,100. In dollar terms, when a market has went down 30%, playing the strategy, and I just did this. I played this, and nothing too aggressive, nothing too tight as far as executing how much I held. And again, this is the code. I should have already written that down if you had it, so I know you can't see the entire one there. But I was just doing like, meh, whatever. Meaning I didn't try, but I kind of tried. And not so, kind of safe, but, well, for example, I know investment advisors are like, oh, what's your risk tolerance? I put this maybe at like a 5 out of 10 for risk tolerance as far as how aggressive you want to play. I could have went tight, would have meant like 1 or 2, which would have meant in a situation like this, I'd sell maybe, instead of selling 1,800, I'd sell about 1,100 or 1,000 or 900. And aggressive would be selling like, say, 3,800 or 4,000. All right. Let's look at the other terms now. So you're barely up, like 5%, and a little more than a half a year, which is like terrible for me anyway. But so be it. When the market goes down, and I can actually come out with a profit. That's great. But how about gains in theta? See, if I were to take 610 fiat dollars, and this is the one I would divide. So I had that, and I would divide it by 0.0953. That I would get 6,400 theta. And that's going to be easy math again, because at 15.6, that works out to 22. A little more. So let's just add this in 15. 22,000 plus theta. And also you have some T-fuel as well, because that would have came along the way. That would have been free money. That would have been like a dividend kind of deal, because that day, actually April 1st, no, April 1st, the dividend was before then. But if you were trading theta before then, man, you could have done it, whatever. Or when did it come out? April? No, it was before April 1st. That was like start of the year. Anyway, that's when it worked out that you got 5 times as many T-fuel for as many theta that you had for what you held. Anyway. And I consider those like dividends, stuff like that. I started off with 8,000 theta. But technically you were worth 16,000 to start the game, because you could have bought that with $2,000. Which means you would have a gain of 6,031. And then that should mean close to 40% actually of a net return. 37.8. I was thinking that too. I was going to say that. I really will. Anyway, I didn't even calculate that in advance. I was thinking 30. I was thinking 37.8, Bill. By the way, that's what number I was thinking in my head. I was going to say 37.8, which is actually off by point 0.1. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. Have yourself a great day. Bye bye.